Today, you've seen the decoration. You probably seen the promotion. How many of you have been in a barber shop before? I used to go every 2 weeks. Now, that's not the case. But barber shops are compatible to a man cave. It has music, television, sport, other men, mainly conversation. We talk about politics, money, jokes, humor, sport, and women. All kinds of stories. Some of them are very hard to believe, but what happened in a barbershop stays in a barbershop. But that has changed. I had an uncle in Puerto Rico. He was a barber, and he was well known in our town in Juncos. And I remember he became famous for his haircut called playero. Back in the 70s, 80s, playero was short in the front and long in the back, especially those who had afros. And he became very famous for that. But I heard a story about the first days of my uncle becoming a barber, and he started practicing with his brothers. He's my dad's older brother, and they were like 11 sons. And so he had a lot of practice in his house. But I remember that one time, as he was cutting the hair of one of his brothers, he got tired, and he said, "You know what? Come back tomorrow, and I finish you up." Come back tomorrow. What is that? Come back tomorrow, and I'm going to finish it. But then later in life, he became very good at it, and there were long lines waiting for him to get a haircut. One thing he didn't improve was that he took a lot of time. Because the afro had to be very perfect for him. So that's what made him famous. But what is the main thing we go to the barber shop? Even though we talk and we watch sport and we listen to the music and we share our stories and we hear stories, the main reason we go to a barber shop is to get a haircut, to get a clean cut, a trim, a shave. And that's what I do now. I just they trim my beard. There's nothing else to do there. Many people who work at salons are not trained barbers. There are places that you can find them. There are cosmetologists. And there's a difference between a barber and a cosmetologist. A barber is trained to cut with clippers, the main tool in cutting a man's hair. A cosmetologist, on the other hand, are trained to use scissors. Their training is also geared towards catering to women's hair. They become expert in styling, coloring, and perming. Things a man has no need for. A barber can employ the clippers with finesse. I go to Major League Baseball salon on 192 in Kissimmee. My barber is Rafael. And when I go to Rafael, I sleep in that chair because he doesn't only clean my beard, but he gives me massage and he do all these things for a low cost of $15. And yesterday I went to another place because Rafael was not available for me, and they charged me $15, and they did half of what Rafael does every time I go there. But when I go there and I sit in Rafael's chair, I can go to sleep because I know he knows what he's doing. And I know he knows what I want him to do. And there's no problem with that. I am not going to be surprised. I am not going to wake up and say, what have you done, Rafael? Because we are in connection. I already know what I want. He already knows what I want. And not only he knows what I want with my beers, but we have had the opportunity to get acquaintance to each other. And every time I go there, he asks me for my family, he asks me for my girls, he tells me his story, he tells me the story of his 2 kids. He has a boy and a girl, and recently he moved, and he was telling me how nice is the new place. So we have a conversation. There is more than just the haircut. When I went to a hairstylist one time, that was not Rafael. I went to a hairstylist that was a woman. And I didn't know what to tell her. I was in another town near Tampa, and I went there. There was a lady. I didn't know what to tell her. I didn't know what to talk to her about. So I started talking about the NFL player Michael Vick and the problem that he had with dog fights. Remember that a couple of years ago? And I was telling her, trying to have a conversation with the girl, with the lady. I was telling her, I think the NFL punished Michael Vick too hard for what he did. Oh my God. This lady, she loved dogs, and she went off on me. And I couldn't walk away from the conversation because I was sitting in her chair. And she went off on me, and she asked me, where are you from? And I said, I'm from Puerto Rico. Yeah, in Puerto Rico. You put gallos. Roosters to fight. What kind of people are you? You don't love animals? And she went off and off and off and off. And there's no need to tell you that that was the last time I went there. Because I didn't know what to talk about with this lady. But with Rafael, we can talk about many things. He's from the Dominican Republic, and he makes me laugh just by hearing him telling jokes. I'm laughing. He's telling jokes with the other person. Every time we go there, we are watching a baseball game. We have music. They have merengue, bachata, salsa, everything, all at the same time. And you can hear the merengue and watch the game and laugh at the joke. It's an amazing experience. I don't know how they do it, because according to Rafael, he wakes up late, go to the barber shop. Sometimes it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and he's eating his lunch because there are many people that he has to give a haircut. Then he goes after 7, he leaves the barber shop after 7, he goes to Planet Fitness because I see him there. And then after that, sometimes he said that he goes to play pool, and he goes to drink a beer, and he goes to his house. And I don't know at what time they have the opportunity to read the newspaper, because apparently they know about every issue that is going on in this nation and around the world. And they have the right opinion. They have the answer for all the problems that we see on CNN. I wonder why Congress don't take a bunch of barbers and ask them for answers to how to fix this nation, because they have all the answers. It is a great time and a great experience. Barbershop are places continuity. They don't change with the shift of culture. You will always see the same chair. You will always see, I don't know how you call the thing, the red and blue thing. Barber pole. They don't change that. As soon as you see that, you're gonna know there's a barber shop there. And the place and barbers look the same as they did when your dad got a haircut. It's a straightforward experience with none of the fluff of the modern age. When you walk out of the barber shop with a sharp haircut, you feel happier. You feel looking good. Now, some men, they take their wives to the barber shop, and the first reaction to their haircut is from their wives. Oh my God, papi, te veo, te ve, you look good. They want that. That's the purpose of the haircut. Men need a tradition. It is a great father and son activity. And I've seen how many fathers take their sons with them. Fathers with less hair than their sons, obviously. But they have an experience. Men need tradition that can help bond them together with their kids. And this is one opportunity to do it. And you see the fathers near the chairs and guiding the process of the haircuts and telling the barber what to do, what they want. At that moment, the haircuts is designed and decided by the father. This is what I want you to do to my son. This is the haircut that I want him to have. Probably because when we were smaller, they didn't give us that choice. When I was, I have always had my ears, big ears, and my first barber was my dad. I think he got jealous of my uncle, and he said, you know what, I'm not gonna pay for a haircut. You come over here, and I'm going to give you a haircut. And it was a very traumatic experience for me because I don't know why he wanted to do the cerquillo. He called it the cerquillo, and he will do it so up over here, and my ears stand out. And when I went to school, when I would go to school, I was the joke of the day. So I didn't want my dad to give me a haircut. When I was a little bit older, then I started going to my uncles. And I said, finally, I have a haircut that is going to make me look good. By the way. But what I've seen is that fathers are guiding their sons in this experience of having a haircut. Something that is very simple. Maybe you have not put interest into that, but that is a moment of bond between them two. Visiting a barbershop with your father or your son is a great tradition to beginning your family. After that, you may take him to the mall or take him to eat ice cream or do something, but it's an opportunity to bond with your kid. Many men have been going to the same barber all their life and have introduced their sons to the same chair and the same barber. What a great way to bond with the men in your life. This will be a great place to have a home. And you know that Pastor Gabby is always thinking about opportunities. And that would be a great place to have a home. God is our Father. And that's who we honor today. Church is our Father's barbershop. Here is where He brings us for us to be better. Here, He cuts, the Holy Spirit cuts from us everything that can be a hindrance between our relationship with our God. Here in church, in our Father's barbershop, is where He brings us to know how to live. The greatest need in our society today is for a father who will rise up and assume their God-given role of responsibility in their family. We need men. We men need to become godly fathers. We need to become a role model for our kids. There's a shortage of manhood in our society. And if we don't guide in the purpose that God has for us, our kids, the next generation of men, if we don't guide them as God has perfectly created us as men, we are going to lose an entire generation. There are boys, and I am a 5th grade teacher, and I've seen boys struggling with their identity. When I reach to them, the same pattern repeats. It's either a father that is abusive or the absence of the father in the home. They don't have a father figure. They don't have that guidance to how to be a man. I remember walking through the hallways of Walmart, and this lady, desperate, calling me with his teenage boy, and she was telling me, my boy, I'm a single mom, and my boy, this is the first time he's going to shave. He's already big, grown, and he needs to shave. I don't know what to get for him. I don't know what to get for him. And not only for the shaving cream and shaving and razor, but for so many other things that a boy that is growing in this society needs. There are single moms that have the same preoccupation. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to get. That is why church becomes a great place to support those single moms and those boys that are growing up in this generation. In our church, back in the Tampa Bay area, we used to have a moment of men and young men. It didn't matter if it was your son or not. We gathered all the men and we gathered all the young people, especially teenagers. And the men were responsible to teach them how to change a tire, how to change oil, how to do work around the house. Things that they need to know in order to be an effective man in this generation. Not only that, but also we teach them the Word of God. We teach them how to treat a woman, how to treat their mom, how to treat their family, finances, how to make a budget, how to begin to tie to the church, how to be responsible in filling out an application, how to write a resume, everything that they need. The same way when we go to a barber shop, we expose our kids to every conversation that happens in that place. And like I said, they are raw conversation, especially when it comes to women. And you are exposing your kids to that. So the same way, be bold enough to expose your kids to the truth that is in the Word of God, to the truth that is revealed to us through the Holy Spirit. And what better way than live it out? In the Deuteronomy chapter 6, God spoke to Moses and said, you need to show the next generation how to love me, that I am the one through God. And Moses asked him, when or how are we going to do that? God answered back and said, when you wake up, when you are in the house, when you are on the road, and before you go to sleep. And if you take that literally, you said, but how can I be spending all my time teaching my kids about this truth? God is not expecting you to have a classroom setting. He wants you to live it out. I remember waking up at 6 a.m., not because it was my choice, but because I was hearing my dad praying out loud at that time in the morning. And I saw my dad praying. I remember when we gathered in the house, we pray at the table. We hear Christian music on the radio when we had radio in the house, television. And then when we were on the road, they were telling and sharing the testimonies of how God had been brought them as a family together. Before we went to bed, my mom would come into my room and read me a psalm and pray with me. That is teaching your kids in the morning, in the house, on the road, before you go to bed. You have to live it out. Because there are things that we emulate from our parents. A father is a son's first hero. A daughter's first love. And everything that you show them, they are going to grasp, they are going to embrace, and is going to be part of the formation of their own life. Therefore, we need to be godly fathers. I feel pride, and you feel so much pride when you see your kids making it in the little leagues of baseball. You scream like there's no tomorrow when you see your kids playing basketball and shooting that final shot that is going to give their team their win. You are so in love with your daughter when you are in her first recital, when you see her dance, when you see her with her dress. In my case, I'm a father of two girls, so I grew up around pink and flowers and yellow and princesses. And I knew and I know all the Disney princesses by name, their stories, and everything. I had to watch my girl wear the same princess dress every morning, Princess Belle. The yellow one. She didn't want anything else. The dress was breaking on her. She was tearing up. But she loved that dress. That's what she wanted. I learned to be more sensitive. I learned to hug more. I learned to give flowers with meaning. I learned to treat her mother better. Because I said, they're not a boy, so I'm not going to show them how to be rough and tough, but I am going to let them, I am going to give them a heritage, an example of what to look on a man whenever they get married. I was the first one to give my daughter a diamond ring. So if any man come and say, I'm the first one to give you a diamond ring, she's going to say, no, my dad did it. I was the first one when my oldest daughter was 18. I took her on a date. I even came to the house and asked her and bring flowers to her mom and took her on a date, and I treated her the way I expect anybody to treat her. And I told her, I want this day to be the example for whenever you have a date with a boy. If he treats you less than what I treated you, it's not for you. Yeah. It's not. Even in the process of a divorce, I treated her mom with so much respect and so much love that my daughters, they even tell me that you are amazing. You are amazing. Obviously, I don't want them to go through what I've gone through, but I told her, this is what a man of God looks like. I am not going to teach you how to shoot a ball. I am not going to teach you how to play baseball, even though there are girls that play softball. But I am going to model for you what a man of God is. What is a godly father? Number one, a godly father loves God above all things. Matthew 6:33 says, but seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. As father, we tend to provide for our families, and we get anxious when we don't have all the provision that our family needs. And the Bible says, in a similar situation, Jesus telling his disciple, if you seek the kingdom of God first, I know what you need. I will provide it for you. But if I disregard the seeking of the kingdom of God first, trying to get all the provision that I need, I might get the provision, but I am going to lose the most important thing. If you seek the kingdom of God first, everything else that you need, that I know that you need, says the Lord. And if you read the context of that, they needed food, they needed clothes, and he said, I know that's what you need. I know that you're seeking for those things that are important for your daily life. I will provide it for you. This is the basis upon which happiness is built and priority of relationship. If you do not have a right relationship with God, it is pointless to think you can relate properly to others. You don't have the right to love anybody unless you love yourself. And love for self comes from a true identity. When you know your identity in Christ, you love yourself, and then as you love yourself, you can love others. The Bible says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. So if you don't love yourself, what kind of love are you reflecting to your neighbors? If you are running from God, you will never have peace. You will never understand what true love is. Sometimes we're running from the very thing that God wants us to have. And we don't find ourselves, and we say, I don't find myself. I don't seem to get it together. Don't run from God. Love God. Godly fathers, number one, love God. Number two, a godly father loves his children. Love is more than provision for material things. And I notice this when my girls, sometimes they tell me, Dad, I don't need that. I just want you to be with me. Don't miss your children's childhood. There is no second chance at childhood. There's a story in the Bible, but I get so upset because we know the son, David. He became so famous in the Bible and throughout the world, but his father never had that interest in David. When Samuel came to Jesse's home to look for the next king of Israel, Jesse brought 7 sons, but he left out David. And he was in an argument with the prophet. The prophet said, you show me 7 sons, I think any of them could be the next king of Israel, but God is telling me that none of them are qualified. Do you have another son? He said, no, this is it. Let's go eat. And Samuel the prophet said, we are not going to eat unless you bring me the other son that you have. When you forget your son for a meal, that's pathetic.
Yeah. Come on.
And then he remembered, oh yes, I have another son. But he cannot be the king of Israel because he's taking care of my sheep. He will never be anything else than that. And when David came, and Samuel saw him, and the Holy Spirit told him, anoint him, that's the next king of Israel. Jesse was surprised, and he will ask, why were you chosen before all the other sons that I have? And that's when he learned that David was a bear killer, a lion killer, a singer, a writer, a poet. Don't miss in your kids what everybody else knows about them. I have the privilege to teach 25 kids, and they are amazing. They drive me crazy sometimes, but they are amazing. They have so much potential. And there's stories that they tell me because kids tell everything. I get to the conclusion, my God, the parents of this kid, they don't know what they have. The treasure that they have. They're not grooming it to become a jewel. They are throwing it to the ground. We have the responsibility to show our kids the way. Love your children. Don't miss your children's childhood. When this